Okay, so I'm talking about how to identify and overcome mental blocks and fear that hinder personal growth. So let me start by wishing you a very happy new year. Um, Now, I'm not wishing a generic Happy New Year like, you're wished in maybe your churches or your mosque or wherever it is you worship. I'm wishing you a very, truly, very happy, happy New Year. Most times when we say certain things, we don't even know what we're saying. We're just doing vain repetition. But when somebody says, I wish you a happy New Year, they're actually telling you that they want you to have a happy New Year. And how do you have a happy 2025? If you bring in the same mindset and believe that you're bringing in from 2024 into 2025. So a lot of times people say, new year, new me, new year, new me. And it's not like the new year comes with a magical wand that just changes people, right? When you say new year, new me, it means that you're willing to do the new things that will bring a new you into the new year. So if you have old sets of beliefs that were not working for you in 2024, if you bring the same limiting beliefs into 2025, unfortunately, you will experience the same thing that you experienced in 2024. And it will not be your village people. For a lot of people, the village people is not the people in your village. I'm not saying that village people do not exist. Do not get me wrong. I am saying that for some of you, village people is actually your mind. And that is what I'm going to try to help you to do in the next 8 minutes thereabout. So I'm going to share a very quick story with you. This is my story, and it's my story of how I was able to overcome and manage my own fear at a particular time. So I didn't start to drive a car until I clocked 30. Was it because I did not know how to drive? No. But was I able to take a car to the road to drive? No. I actually knew how to drive. In fact, I started to help my dad to wash his car, right? To wash his car around when I was like 10 from 12, 10 and 12 years old. My daddy was driving a Volkswagen Beetle then. So whenever he was driving, I would be looking at him. I was studying how he was driving. You know, how would he would take his legs off the clutch and put on gear one. So I was studying all of these things. He didn't know. At that time, I did not have any information about driving. I did not have any fear about driving, but I was just studying. I just wanted to know how to drive. So anytime I was washing his car, I would, how children would do, I would take the car and then, move forward a bit and then reverse and move forward and reverse. It was a fun thing for me to do until one day when my dad peeped he didn't know I was doing that, but that day he peeped. And once he peeped, he saw me doing that and he shouted at me. I said, will you stop that? Do you want to kill yourself? At that point, remember, I never had any information about driving. I just was having fun. Nothing would stop me from driving. But the moment he said that, a belief came to me at that point that meant that driving equals dying. And from that moment till I clocked 20 something or close to 30, I did not know how to drive again. Now, listen, did I know how to drive? Yes, but I could not get myself to the road to drive again because of that belief that was in me. That belief introduced fear into me and stopped me from driving. Some people would say that, you'd have gone to a driving school. Oh, yes, I went to 3 different driving schools. Three. In fact, when I got to the third one, the man looked at me and said, boss, you know how to drive. Why did you come to waste your money? Because I actually knew how to drive. But anytime I wanted to go on the road, it felt like that information, that belief would just come to my head. Do you want to die? Because I had a limiting belief that said driving equals dying. And I knew that I needed to drive. I needed to do something about it. So what did I do? And this story I'm sharing is something that a lot of you can also relate with. I mean, with driving, with starting a business, with whatever it is you want to do, especially in 2025. The things that you wanted to do in 2024 that didn't work, now that you want to do it in 2025, maybe you have certain limiting beliefs, maybe you have certain fears that are stopping you. Now, according to research, they said that there are only two manifestations of fear that we were born with, according to research. Number one is the fear of sudden loud noise. So if you put a baby in a room and you suddenly slam the door, it startles the baby. Number two is the fear of falling. Every other manifestation of fear is learned, and anything that is learned can actually be unlearned, right? So quickly, looking at my story, I said, if you don't address certain limiting beliefs, you will be repeating 2024 in 2025. So there is no new year, new me if you are repeating the same limiting beliefs. So what are limiting beliefs? Limiting beliefs are unconscious assumptions or negative thoughts that hold us back. They often stem from past failures, past experiences and information, cultural conditionings, societal expectations, or even well-meaning advice. So, for example, it was a well-meaning advice from my dad. I mean, he loved me. He just didn't want me to die. However, was it a truth? Was it a reality? But we'll get to that point where we're talking about, fear. Now, these beliefs create mental roadblocks that make us unconsciously sabotage our own progress. So even if you're faced with opportunities of greatness, you know, in fact, because you're subconsciously believing that greatness is not meant for you, if you have greatness, you know that you can do these things. In fact, you have trained for it. But because you have the belief that maybe greatness is not meant for me, I don't think I'm worthy enough. I don't think I'm good enough. No matter what, you will not feel qualified for that greatness and you will not go after that greatness. So these beliefs are subconscious. All of these beliefs I'm talking about, they are subconscious. Unfortunately, our lives are being governed and ruled by 90% of our subconscious. 90% of our lives is ruled by the subconscious. In fact, this is me being generous. It is more than 90%. More than 90% of our lives are ruled by our subconscious. So if these limiting beliefs are in your subconscious, and no matter how much you try, you cannot get yourself to do the things you want to do. You can't get yourself to start the business, to start the podcast, to start the content, to start sharing, to whatever it is you want to do, that fear is stopping you from doing, then it means that you have to do something about it quickly. Now, there's this thing that a lot of people say. They say that I want you to overcome fear because fear is terrible. Fear is a dangerous thing. Yes, I support it. However, because of my level of training, I want to let you know that fear like every other emotion. And this information I'm about to give you, I want you to take it very seriously. Fear, like every other emotion, is not necessarily a bad thing. It is what you do with fear that makes it either bad or good. Fear is a signpost. Fear is like a slave. You are the master. Fear is telling you that, hey, boss, there is something to watch out for here. The entire job of fear is to try to protect you from perceived danger. So when fear senses a perceived danger, it wants to try to protect you from that perceived danger. So the real question will now become, what makes that thing a perceived danger? What makes it dangerous? If fear sees that you are in front of a lion, now you have information about a lion, it can be dangerous. That information, fear will go and say that, boss, this animal is dangerous. I'm trying to protect you. So he activates all the things he needs to activate for you to run. However, when you want to start a business, when you want to show up, speak somewhere, and fear comes, it means that there's an information in your subconscious that fear is trying to tell you that remember something that happened. Remember this thing, the experience you had. Remember what somebody told you years ago. Remember, it means that this thing you're about to do is dangerous. So fear is trying to protect you from perceived pain, perceived shame, perceived danger. The real question is, what makes those things dangerous? Now, because of time, um, I want to quickly help you to be able to engage this thing and break it down. And that's why years ago, I came up with a tool called the Fear Tool, FEAR tool. And I'm quickly going to try to quickly break it down and so that you can understand it and it can help you to begin to overcome or manage or understand your own fears so that you can have success and greatness in 2025. No matter how much they have told you that this is your year of greatness, this is your year of this is your year of that. If you do not do the work that is required at a subconscious level, you may not be able, you have to, you might be doing the same thing all over again in 2026. Now, quickly, the first letter is F, and it is feel the fear. Just like Dr. O has said, just like Mr. Said has said, you are a human being. And like I've also told you now, that fear is not a bad emotion. It is just an emotion that is trying to tell you something. When you are sad, it is trying to tell you something. When you are afraid, it is trying to tell you something. So number one is feel, F, feel the fear. You are a human being. Acknowledge that you are afraid. Acknowledge, in fact, it is one of the ways to kill shame. When you realize that I'm a human being, this is my first time this is my first time here. I've never been here before. I'm also trying to wing this life. So now I am afraid. I acknowledge that I am afraid. It is okay to be afraid. That way, you have allowed fear to settle. And fear is your friend. You have told him, okay, now I see that you're here. You are now asking fear. So what is the information you're about to give me? Why is this thing? Why are you perceiving danger from this thing? Now that takes me to the second point, E, engage the fear. Now, this is like the most important part of what I'm going to be sharing, because this is where you want to now dig deep to the information. Remember, I told you that every time fear comes, it means there's an information from the past. There's something that you have been told, something you have experienced, maybe a past feeling or whatever it is that has formed an identity, that has formed a belief in you that is now controlling your life. So engage the fear. In engaging the fear, it means that everything you're afraid of is mostly wrapped around a belief. And this belief is mostly wrapped around an experience or information of pain or shame. For some of you, for example, maybe when you were young, this happened to me also. When you were young, you tried to answer a question in class, and the moment you answered the question, maybe you made a mistake and they laughed at you. At that point, there is a belief was formed in your subconscious that said that I am worthless, I am not good enough. Maybe there's something wrong with me. Maybe this, maybe that. You see, that belief, that singular belief from when you were 5 years old, 6 years old, 7 years old, has formed a belief within you that even now that you have grown, you just realize that you are not able to speak up anywhere, because fear is telling you that there's an information and it's trying to protect you from that shame you felt then, from the pain that you felt then when you raised your hand and you were laughed at. So it's just trying to protect you. Now, in engaging, you now want to ask yourself, is this true? When I was laughed at, were they not just kids? They were just kids. A failure? Did it mean that I was not good enough? Where did I learn? How did I equate that situation to the fact that it means that I'm not good enough? It means that I'm a failure. Whatever it is that has happened to you, I wish we had more time. Whatever it is that has happened to you is because of a belief that you had. It's because of an experience that you had. So you want to begin to churn down and ask the questions. So you want to engage this fear. Is this belief about me true? What they said about me, is it true? Everything they have said about me, is it true? Is it true? What makes it true? How did I end up turning a very honest mistake or a very, very honest moment of my life to my entire identity? What makes to my story, for example? Can you still hear me?
Yes, sir, loud and clear.
Yeah, we can
Beautiful.
hear it, but it's breaking a little bit, but we can hear you.
Okay, I'm so sorry. So going back to my story, what I did was that I needed to now go back to my dad at that point. I mean, for some of you, might not have the opportunity to go back to what caused it, but I told my dad, I said, do you know that when you told me that thing that time, do you know that it actually made me fear driving? And he said, no, I was just trying to protect you, because he had the experience. So it means that at that point, it was projecting his own fears on me. It was projecting his own fears on me. But after the time, I'd seen other people drive without dying. So I knew that it was just from a place of love and it was not my own reality. And from that point, I got into the road and I started to drive gradually, gradually. Now, that takes me to the next point. I was going to say that under engage, some people say that I have the fear of failing. I have the fear of failing because maybe you have failed before, or maybe they've told you that people who do certain things don't actually fail at it. The question is, where did you learn that failing at anything means that you are a failure? Where did you learn it? Where did we learn all these things? Where did you learn that being rejected means that you are unworthy? Where did you learn that when somebody says no to you, it means that there's something wrong with you? Where did you learn it? When somebody rejects you, have you tried to buy something somewhere? Somebody came to advertise something to you, and then you said no to them. Did it mean that that person was worthless? No, it means that you were not ready. You were not ready to buy that thing. So when somebody says no to you, where did you learn that it means that something is wrong with you? You are unworthy. Those are the things that you need to go back to and question and say, where did I learn these things from? Where did I learn it from? Is it my truth? Is it true about me? How did I make this entire thing my identity? Now, if you are able to sit down, sometimes it's better to find somebody who can help you, maybe like a counselor, a therapist who can help you churn down on these things. But actually, you can do them yourself. If you're able to really sit down. The next thing is go to the next one. Act. Take action. Now, fear is still on one corner of your head because now you have told him that, hey, I understand what is happening. I know that there's this information. You have told fear that I get it. No, you perceive it as danger. Don't worry, it's not dangerous. You can relax. But it's still at the corner. And then you can now take the action. Like me, I went on the road and I told myself that, okay, what do I need to do? I need to now be careful. I need to, just take it easy. Don't stress, don't overrun, and all of that. And over time, I started to do it consistently. Consistently. It is when you do something, you now realize that all the things that you were afraid of were not even true in the first place. When you stand up and talk, you realize that, oh, nobody is even planning to laugh at me. Everybody is facing their lives. So you now begin to do it gradually, just like they have said to you this morning, one step at a time until it becomes unconscious competence, until all of a sudden you have done it, and over time, again and again, you now realize that, oh my goodness, I'm actually doing this thing now. Now, the final step, which is the R in fear, when you have acted, life will still happen. Life constantly happens. Life is always lifing, like we always say, which means that for every degree of fear that you overcome, there will come more challenges that would trigger certain information of fear that you have or whatever it is that is causing your fear. Now, what do you now need to do? Every time you take action on a particular kind of fear, anytime, R is divided into three categories. Number one is rejoice. Give yourself a pat on the back. Yeah, you said you don't try. You said you don't try. You don't try. Give yourself a pat on the back. Number two, that's rejoice. Number two is reward. Reward yourself with something. You have tried. You did something great. You have tried. Then number three, which is very important, repeat. So when life now happens and you now face another challenge, it says repeat the process. And when you're repeating the process, it means that you're going back to F, feel the fear again. Engage the fear. Where is this coming from? What information are you trying to pass to me? Remember, fear is now your friend. So what information are you trying to pass across to me? Now, act and then go to the next one. R. If you're able to do this on your own, I've run out of time, I'm sorry. If you're able to do this on your own, then I want to believe that over time, if you're able to maybe listen to this over and over again, you will be fantastic. Now, the blame you put on your past mistakes. Okay, let me quickly read this one. Because fear is still somewhere at the corner. Okay, I talked about that already. The blame you have put on your past mistakes, parents, experiences, and so on is enough. You see that blame? And it's because of this, it's enough. It is time to take full responsibility for your fears and do something about them so that you can actually truly thrive in 2025. I hope that this little time has been really helpful. I hope that you've been able to understand fear. You're able to understand the concept of fear, understand what you need to do going forward, and know that you can actually embrace this fear, have a dialogue with it, and go to the next thing. Again, do not forget the fear tool. Feel the fear, engage the fear, act, rejoice, reward, repeat. Thank you very much for your time. I don't take it for granted. Thank you very much.